Ayurveda really addresses the whole person. When those energies shift, when hormones are shifting in perimenopause, then Ayurveda is going to swoop in with diets and herbs and lifestyle adjustments to also give this person a roadmap or a plan to navigate these changes. Start talking to your doctor about the specific symptoms you're having. I was sweating through two sets of sheets. This is not okay. Find another alternative. You search for another doctor. You look for support because you deserve it.
It makes me so angry that women historically have had to put up with this shit. Like we've literally been suffering. Half of the population has been suffering for a third of their lives and nobody has cared about it until now. So it's exhausting. It just makes me pissed. Welcome to Drinks with the Girls. Conversations for women over 40 around connection, change, and the power of female friendship. Living well with stories to tell. I'm Karen, and this is Lisa.
We are moms and solopreneurs stepping into our own, diving into real conversations about things that matter to women in midlife.
We're here to spill the tea on everything that affects women in their 40s and beyond. Topics like loss and grief, changing relationships, launching kids, menopause, and reinventing ourselves in midlife. We are here to tackle it all.
Connect with us through a blend of our lived experiences, our friendship, the memory of our moms, plus a collection of real stories, honest conversations, and engaging interviews that will make women over 40 feel seen and remind them that they're not alone on this journey called life. Let's go.
Hey there, welcome back to Drinks with the Girls. I am Karen, and we are very excited for this episode, but before we dive in, we have to let you know what we're drinking. Tonight, I have, for the first time ever, an Olipop orange squeeze. So it says it's a new kind of soda, and I'm not like a big soda person anyway. But this is so funny. It supports digestive and immune health, has probiotics, botanicals, and plant fiber.
Girl, you're trying to out-health me.
No, I'm just trying not to drink Michelob Ultra.
Okay, well, I am drinking a pear energy fizz, and it is delightful. So we're going to be diving into a topic that impacts every woman at some point. Menopause. And we are talking about the struggles, but more importantly, as you know, we like to put our spin on it, how to thrive through it and not just freaking survive it.
I have been waiting for this episode for weeks, and we have brought in an incredible guest who is changing the way women experience menopause. She's an Ayurvedic practitioner and menopause coach, and she's here to show us more holistic, personalized, and empowered ways to move through this season of life. So please welcome my friend, Karen Baskett. I know, right?
The crowd goes wild.
Where's the clapping?
Insert audience track there, yeah. Hey everyone, I am also named Karen. We get double the Karen today.
Yes, Karen squared.
Karen squared, yes. Super honored to be here. I love talking about this. And I will talk about it until I can't anymore. To as many people who want to listen, So thank you. Thank you for having me here.
We're here for that. That's pretty much our motto. So we all know the horror stories, hot flashes, mood swings, sleepless nights. Menopause is not for the faint of heart. We did do a menopause episode a while back, and that's one of our most listened to episodes. So I am looking forward to kind of menopause part 2 here. So we dive in. So for years, and we've talked about this on the last episode, women have been left in the dark with little guidance on how to navigate this transition. And here on Drinks with the Girls, we're not here to sugarcoat it. Menopause is not for the faint of heart. But we also believe it doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. We want to shift the narrative from just surviving menopause to thriving in it. So we are glad you're here, Karen. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and of course, tell us what you're drinking.
Oh, yes. I forgot. I am actually sipping on some herbal tea because I went out to dinner with friends last night and had a glass of wine, and my body was like, why did you do that? After the pause, it seems I'm like 5 years now past my last period, and my body just doesn't it just doesn't process alcohol like it used to. And so I'm drinking some tea. I have a turmeric, ginger, holy basil tea bag here that I'm using. Put a little honey in it. You know what I was thinking though? Like you could add some rum to this and it would be a pretty good, like spicy hot toddy kind of business, you know? Yeah, I mean, whatever. Anything goes here, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So yes, I'm Karen Baskett. I am a certified Ayurvedic practitioner. So the way you say Ayurveda is I, like eyeball, I, and then you're, and then Veda. Say it with me. I,
You're
you're,
Beta.
Veda. Yeah, so I am also the founder of Alpenglow Ayurveda LLC, which is the business that I started in Seattle. And then Amplify Healing Arts is going to be my new Belizean business that I'm getting ready to launch here in just a couple months. I'm based here in Placencia, Belize, hence the Belizean business. My master's degree is in Ayurveda and integrative medicine. So that means that I had to learn every system of the body from both the Western medicine perspective as well as the Eastern perspective. So that's integrative. You sort of blend both Western and Eastern techniques. And I find that I rely on both sides of the spectrum to help my clients the best. Like I'm not like, it's only herbs. Why are you taking medicine? I don't shame either side, right? It's like, because ideally we have a system that works just right for us that blends both. Like people know Chinese medicine really well, like acupuncture, right? Chinese herbs, that's a common way, but this is medicine from India. So I ended up moving here to Belize like last September. It's crazy, 7 months ago now. After realizing that my busy life in Seattle, I was teaching dance, I was working as an assistant director of the dance studio, running my own Ayurvedic practice, and I'm also a DJ. A club like house music
Because
DJ,
of course you are. I love
just
it.
like whatevs. So
How cool can you be?
I know, right? I'm like, wow.
I don't know.
Okay.
I guess I could,
Not much cooler.
The best.
you guys, I love you. So yeah, I was like DJing at, you know, like after hours parties, like these LGBTQ events, you know, in Seattle, and just like I was burning myself. Like if you could have more than millions of ends, like I was burning all of them simultaneously. Yes, I see you raising your hand. And I was like, that was me. So I went through menopause. My last period was in 2020, right before COVID. And so I was literally going through menopause as the world is like falling apart, right? And so then I was like, oh gosh, well, I can't teach dance anymore because the studios are closed. I can't play music anymore because the clubs are all closed. So I was like, so I ended up getting my master's degree in this medicine because I took this workshop, and this tea that I made like helped me like get rid of this wart I'd been carrying around for like, I don't know, maybe a decade. He kind of looked like Bob Ross. He had like a little afro, this wart. So like I would call it Bob Ross. And I took this tea and then
Nice.
I'm not kidding. I took this tea. I'll tell you what was in it. It was turmeric root, ginger root, a lemon cut in half, and then some black peppercorn. And I drank that tea. It's like bright orange, right, from turmeric. I drank it for like 7 days. And that wart is gone. Like she gone. Like I can show you. I don't know if you can see, Lisa, but there's some like bare skin where he used to live. And I was like, what is this magic? I had my bachelor's degree in botany. So I'd already ethnobotany to be specific, which is the way people use plants for medicine. And I was like, okay, yeah, I get this. But then I realized that I could get my master's degree in it. And so I did. It's like a 3-year degree. You know, I just sort of realized after learning all of this information that the life that I was living when I had estrogen no longer fit me now that I didn't have estrogen. Like I ended up having a bone spur removed from my foot. I was inflamed. I was depressed. I had gum disease for the first time in my life. High cholesterol, high sugar for the first time in my life. Belly fat that I couldn't get rid of for the first time. I was like, what is happening? And then once I moved down here and I removed the big stressors from my life, like honestly, things have gotten better. My like emotional health is better. My mental state is better. I've lost weight. Like things are starting to regulate and normalize now after menopause. And we don't talk about that enough too, that there are actually positive things that come out of this, which I hope that we'll talk more about. But I really had to do a lot of self-reflection and be like, girl, why are you doing this to yourself? Like what for? And for whose benefit? And for me, I don't have kids. I'm not married. So it's a very different experience for me than I'm sure other women that are in different situations. But for me, I decided to stop playing the game. I pulled myself out of it. I sold everything and I moved down here last September. So I guess that's me. That's why I'm here.
Oh, is that all?
Down here and please, right? My mission and the reason why I've created these businesses and the reason why I'm deciding to work for myself for the first time in my life is to help other women navigate the ups and downs of midlife and menopause. Like we can do it naturally. It doesn't have to be all natural. There's still ways with hormone replacement and medications that can help us. But I think there's so much knowledge that India receives. People in India grow up with this knowledge, knowing how connected we are to nature and to our surroundings and to plants and the universe. You know, all these things are not uncommon for them to know when they grow up, but we aren't really taught this. So I'm spreading this knowledge because it's literally what I wish I had. 11 years ago.
Absolutely.
If I knew this, if I knew this in my 20s, that I didn't have to push myself so hard during my period, that it might actually make me go through menopause a little smoother, that if I just paid attention to my chronic illnesses and my autoimmune diseases before I lost estrogen, and maybe my journey would look different, you know? And so spreading this knowledge, I think, is super important for many reasons, but it really, Ayurveda really helped reduce my symptoms in a way that I did not expect. Like, I expected to lose Bob Ross. Like, okay, I lost a wart, but is it really gonna like get rid of my hot flashes though? Like, is it really gonna, you know, come on. Like, is that really, because those, you know, those night sweats, those hot flashes, the depression, the apathy, you know, it's scary. Because we're really not led. So I've dedicated sharing tools and knowledge, and I've created a bunch of free programs, and I've developed ways for people to get this knowledge that doesn't involve you like straight up hiring a coach every month, right? But that you can get this knowledge, integrate it slowly, share it with your friends like we're doing right now, and making this experience a little easier, a little like, I like to say we're awakening our inner healers because we already intuitively know what's good and what's bad for us, right? So I hope to shed light on this and also say again that it does get better in many ways. And I do feel like women in midlife are experiencing this massive gap in health. Like we just don't have the knowledge. Some of our doctors don't even have the knowledge.
Oh, for sure. I found a new GP down here finally after 3 years. And when I looked at him and I asked him what his knowledge base was about menopause, he looked like, you know, at me like I had 3 eyeballs. And he basically deferred to like encourage me to get a gynecologist. I'm like, all right, dude, thanks. And it was a struggle finding a gynecologist who was not an OBGYN, you know, who didn't necessarily focus on the baby part. And somebody who was, who knew what the hell I was going through at 56, being 2 years, you know, post-menopause. So, yeah, I think this is incredible. I think it's about options, right? It's like not saying Western, Eastern, one or the other, but it's all about options. It's like laying it out for women and letting women choose because they know their body's best.
Yes, absolutely. And we're often shown not a lot of examples of this in our environment. Like I don't, none of my mom, my aunts, my grandparents, like they weren't talking about this. They certainly weren't sharing knowledge. They certainly weren't talking about when they stopped bleeding. Like we're not really taught to share this either. Like there's
No,
some
it's like this
shame.
mysterious thing. It's like, oh, when she goes through the change, like it's like somebody saying,
It's like,
cancer.
come
Like,
on.
We
That's
talked
okay.
about this on the first episode because I feel like it has to do with our period and anything about women's potential like sexuality or anything. It's like, and what did we learn as girls? Our period's dirty, something to hide, something to not talk about. And I think so
Must be
talking about
sanitary.
right. So the
Yeah.
talking about your period stopping wasn't something that, our moms, nobody told us about this. And I think what
No.
you said was so powerful, Karen, when you said, and I'm going to mess it up, but something to the effect of, who I was with estrogen was not who I was without estrogen or something. It's like, and literally I just learned when I went on HRT that estrogen impacts so many different parts of us, it affects all of us, not just our sex drive or the fact that we don't have a period,
Yeah, all of that, all of what you just said, and it's ingrained in us that this is a negative experience because of the reflection of how it feels for men, right? Like that's really the patriarchy
Preach.
coming into this equation, right? Where the men don't because this is what they taught us in school, which was like, it opened my eyes in so many ways. Yes, estrogen is, it basically acts like an inflammatory agent for us from the time that we start our periods and all the way through our 30s, our prime baby making years, right? Estrogen acts like, this is what they called it in school, the placating hormone. I'm going to say that again. The placating hormone. And this is why, because think about it evolutionarily, whether you had kids or not, doesn't matter. Your body is designed to replicate, right? And evolutionarily, our goal is to make more of us, right? So for the first 3 decades of our life, everything is dedicated to that purpose. That includes putting up with bullshit from people that we maybe don't necessarily want to put up with bullshit from, just because we know that if we do it for a little bit longer, we'll get pregnant and we may be able to so it literally is a hormone. I know, I see your eyes, Lisa. It literally is a hormone that makes us like, it's okay, it's fine, yes, whatever you need, right? That people-pleasing, perfectionistic.
Makes us quote unquote nice.
It makes us quote unquote, the perfect wife, which also explains a lot why men go back to younger women after dating or marrying. Once a woman goes through menopause, men are like, nah, she's a bitch now. Like, she stands up for herself. No, no, no. And then they're like, running towards 20-year-olds who are like, anything you need, honey. Because we don't have it to give anymore.
My name is Karen Shatafian, and I am a shameless coffee addict and empowerment coach for women, and my love language is authenticity. My mission is helping women unapologetically design a life they're in love with. Because what the hell are we waiting for? My website, KarenShatafian.com, has all my coaching packages and free offers like my Midlife Reclamation Guide. In it, you'll find tools to help you decide how to create the most inspired and empowered version of yourself and your life. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram talking about ways women can show up for themselves after decades of showing up for everyone else. Join me as we throw off the shackles and live our best freaking lives. See the show notes for all the details. Cheers.
How empowering is that for us, but for people around us, it sends this ripple effect of discomfort. And people are like, whoa, 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 whoa. I used to be able to go to mom for everything, and now she won't do anything for me. I used to be able to ask my wife to do X, Y, Z, and now she didn't even care. Like, things change, and people around us need to know this is why. That's why when I write on all my sales pages, like, who is this? Who are these workshops good for, and who needs to know this? Yeah, women in midlife, totally, but also men in midlife, y'all. And also our kids need to know this because they're going to get it eventually. They're going to learn it eventually, and they're going to have a similar path to their mothers. So all the more reason why we should be talking about this more to everybody, so we can be like, look, this is why I'm all of a sudden this way. It sent a ripple through my community. I was teaching dance for 15 years at this dance studio to kids. I brought up babies. I watched them from their little 3 to 4-year-old tap shoes to their driving days and graduating high school. Like I sent a ripple through my community by saying, you know what? I'm done. I can't. I literally can't. I love you guys so much, but I cannot do this anymore. And it was heartbreaking for me and for a lot of people that I know, but also like I can't anymore. Right. So that's
So
the
listeners,
fit,
I
the
just want to say,
misalignment.
sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt you, Karen, but I
No,
just want
please.
listeners to take this as the fucking permission slip that
Yeah.
they need, that I know they're waiting for somebody to hand them. And this is it. Like, it's literally biological. Okay.
It
So
is.
it's happening.
You're
It is
not
a
being a
thing. So
bitch. You're not, you're not going crazy. You're not all of a sudden feeling things differently. In fact, maybe you're feeling them for the first time in your life in the most genuine way, because it's no longer about pleasing anybody else. Not your husbands, not your kids, not your husbands. You have multiple, but not your y'all. Maybe
all
I
the
do.
husbands.
If
Not
the
your,
pants
all
fit.
y'all. But it's not about that, right? It's not about pleasing. It's not about doing. It's not about proving and showing anymore. It's like, actually, you know what? I'm going to go ride my bike into the forest and write in my journal. And that's how I'm going to live my life today. Like, you can make these choices. You can make these choices and people will be okay. It's okay to disappoint people. It's okay to disappoint people because you literally, this is at least how I felt. I did not have the bodily capacity to be who I was for people anymore. For the first time, I'm working for myself, choosing myself, moving at a pace that suits myself. And I really believe that it has a lot to do with estrogen. And that's a benefit in my eyes. Like, it can be a bumpy road and the rocks are large through perimenopause. Like, it's a rough go.
But I think just putting it out there, like just doing what you're doing and educating people and telling them, and like you said, like you're the first person I've heard really that has said, yeah, let's tell the women, but let's also tell the people around the women so they kind of get it. And then they're not shocked when it happens, when they go through it.
Right.
Right.
Because I don't remember my mom ever saying, I mean, she was experiencing it, but she wasn't able to articulate it like, I'm having a hot flash. I need to step back and not deal with your teenage bullshit right now. And then I would have been like, oh, I'm so sorry, Mom. Like, like I would have had a lot more empathy for her if we knew what that even was, right? Like,
right.
Because that's usually the timing is women have babies and then 15, 16 years later, their kids are teenagers and then they're going through menopause and it's like a fucking crazy, like battle of the titans, right? Like nobody's hormones are balanced because teenagers aren't balanced, right? Their hormones are all over the place. So it becomes
hormones everywhere.
Who has the most imbalanced hormones? It's like hard to navigate. Men go through it too. Men go through andropause. They go through a reduction in hormones just like we do. We don't talk about that because their balls don't fall off. If they did, we'd be talking about that shit all the time,
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, there'd be so many things out there in the medical community to help them with that.
100%.
All the studies, all the money.
Yeah, grants.
So, growing up, kind of what we've talked about, we hear the narrative that, menopause is like this dreaded thing. It's something that, nobody looks forward to. We hit a certain age and bam, we're sweating through our sheets. We're losing our minds. Ayurveda looks at it differently, right? Like, tell us about the lens that Ayurveda looks at menopause through.
Ayurveda views menopause not just as an ending, but as a natural transition and an opportunity for renewal, almost like a shedding or like a snake molts, right? Loses its skin. It resurfaces as this like smooth, shiny new snake, right? So yes, the process of them losing the skin looks super dramatic, i.e. menopause, right? But when you shed that and you're on the other side of it, it really helps you reconnect more with sort of what's going on inside. There's a saying in Ayurveda that says all diseases start in the gut and therefore they can be healed in the gut. And so when I say gut, I don't just mean like your stomach, but literally like your intestines and where food is processed. where we transform that food into energy, right? Through digestion, but we also process our experiences through our gut too, right? Like people will often say, I had a gut feeling that that person, I just didn't like that person, right? And it's because we create 90% of our serotonin in our gut. Our happiness comes from our gut. Our sadness comes from our gut. Our lightness comes from our gut. Our heaviness comes from our gut, right? So it's really going back to the gut and finding maybe where there might be trapped food. Like there may be literally like stuck food there, or there could be stuck experiences like grief, pain, trauma, right? And so when we go back to that gut, we sort of look at, okay, what's their inner ecosystem like? In Ayurveda, we talk about the elements a lot of air and space and water and fire and earth. And we see them outside and we're like, oh yeah, I get that. I see wind, I see water, I see fire, right? But we also have those at varying levels inside us. Inside us, there's an ecosystem as well. So Ayurveda looks at this transition and we go, okay, wait. So what are your symptoms? And if you were to say to me, well, I'm having hot flashes, night sweats, I have heartburn, I have diarrhea a lot, and I'm super irritable and angry all the time. And I go, oh, that sounds like you have a lot of fire, right? Fire in the heat in the chest, fire in the gut, coming out, blaring fire out your ass, right? Diarrhea, like it's just heat everywhere, right? So then we would go, okay, well, let's try to pull that heat back by eating cooling foods, thinking cooling thoughts, making sure that you're eating your largest meal at lunch instead of dinner. Like there are ways that then we approach that imbalance that have to do with science. So it's usually the opposites. Like if you're too dry, I want to make you oily. If you're too oily, I want to make you dry. If you're too heavy, I want to make you light. So there's just, you're playing on this seesaw of how to make change happen in the body. So Ayurveda looks at it as, okay, this is a natural transition that's going to happen. So let's try to set you up with success before it happens. So what's happening now is a lot of women are finding out about this and we're playing catch up. We're really trying to catch up. We're in backwards. We're like, oh man, my gut's been off since maybe my 40s, right? And so it's like, oh no. So it's looking at that as a transition. First of all, it's not just an ending. And then it's looking at the root cause of what's going on, not just what are your symptoms? Here's a pill. What's your other symptoms? Here's another pill. Maybe you need surgery. Maybe you do, but maybe you don't. And maybe if you changed some of the things you were eating or thinking or doing in a way that supported your body type versus worked against it, then that's kind of where Ayurveda comes in and why I found it to be so helpful. Yeah, I feel like that flowing with the change versus fighting it is a big part of it. We're taught to sort of fight it, to not understand it, and for it to feel really hard to even comprehend. So we need the help of someone in a white coat. We actually are pretty intuitive. You know, we can create human beings inside this vessel. So I think like we can navigate this, right? So it's that empowerment piece and that inner healer piece that I think I really was attracted to in Ayurveda. And there's this running theme through it of mental health. So if you have a lot of trauma and a lot of grief and a lot of pain that you're storing in the tissues, you can't expect that the channels that literally run right next to your vagus nerve that move food and water and hormones and blood, for them to not be affected by the other system, right? It's like we're all packaged in this one little contained system. And if we are experiencing difficulty and we don't process that, then that can be a major reason why a lot of women experience these symptoms. Maybe you've heard that 80% of autoimmune diseases more affect women than men, right? And it's because we're giving and disconnecting from self, often for others, right? And so that causes an imbalance, causes a weakness. So I think that I sort of went on a little bit there, but those are the main tenets of Ayurveda and how we use it in a clinical setting to then help shift somebody's symptomatic response.
Okay, quick pause. Have we talked about the Pod Squad lately?
Oh, the Pod Squad. You mean our email list /VIP lounge /digital wine club?
Exactly. So listeners, if you're not on it yet, you're basically making life harder for yourself when it comes to podcasts.
Like trying to scroll for show notes while speed walking on a treadmill. Wait, what was that link again? Oh, no. Grab the side rails.
Or pulling up that book we mentioned while you're in the Starbucks line and then realizing everybody else moved up 3 cars and now you're that woman.
We've all been there. That's why we made the Pod Squad. You'll get new episode alerts every week with direct links. Easy to listen, easy to share.
And show notes straight to your inbox. So when we drop a life-changing product, book, hot tip, or yummy new drink, you're not rummaging through your memory like a woman searching for her reading glasses when they're on top of her head.
It's organized, it's helpful, it's for you, babes.
So join the Pod Squad. The link is in the show notes. Just tap it.
Snacks, sarcasm, solidarity,
and obviously fighting the patriarchy.
We write at dawn.
So you talked a little bit about this already, but I think for those of us who don't know tons about Ayurveda, and I actually lived in India, so a lot of this is kind of ringing some bells for me. But maybe talk a little bit more specifically about how it actually helps with menopause symptoms.
Ayurveda helps by focusing on balancing the body's natural rhythms and energies. And we refer to those in Ayurveda as elements, or the Sanskrit word is called doshas. So without, giving you, too long of an explanation there, they basically needed a way to categorize the elements, and they do it in a way that's called Vata, V-A-T-A. The second category of dosha is Pitta, P-I-T-T-A. And the third category is called Kapha, K-A-P-H-A. And each of those categories represents both a blend of elements and a certain organ system or function. So let me give you an example. Vata, the type of body, a body type of Vata is going to be smaller, thinner, meaning smaller body frame as well as body weight. This person might move their hands a lot when they talk, or they're always moving somehow. There's a lot of movement inside them. Vata as a organ system is represented by your circulatory system, your nervous system, your digestive system. So all of the things that move things in the body, food, water, waste, hormones, blood, that's all represented by Vata. So that's one category. And we have different levels of each dosha in us at any given time. The Pitta category, the Pitta dosha, is fire and transformation. It's where your digestive power comes into play. And it's also where we process emotions and experiences. And so when someone is a Pitta person, they're usually a medium build. They're usually like someone like me who has blonde hair, blue eyes, typically is a Pitta person, reddish skin. And this is a kind of person who usually is very organized and get things done clearly. And then a Kapha person is someone who has maybe a thicker, fuller body frame, ashwagandha, right? Things that have medically mostly been shown to not interact. But that said, I always tell my clients that anything that I'm sharing with you, these are recommendations for remedies. And ultimately for it to feel like a completely community-based plan where all doctors are on board, I suggest that they send any remedies that I'm recommending to their doctors, especially those who are on intense courses of medication. I have people in my client base who have endometriosis, who have PCOS, who have MS, who have rheumatoid, who have lupus, and all these things that require absolute medical attention and that are finely tuned with specialists that they work with, right? So those are the people that you reach out to. If you have a naturopath, you say, hey, this is something I'm considering. Do you see any reason why I shouldn't be taking turmeric if I'm on birth control, or if I'm on, or I have an IUD, or, any of these things? Be talking about it. Don't make an assumption that all plant medicine is good. This is something that I didn't necessarily plan on talking about, but TikTok remedies, I'm telling you, I get clients all the time. They're like, girl, I castor oil. He told me to put castor oil in my belly button, and I put castor oil in my belly button, and now it's inflamed, and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, yeah.
Stop putting castor oil on your damn belly button, maybe.
Come on. there are things that just we see and we're like, oh my God, take my money, right? I will do anything to get rid of these hot flashes. Like, I cannot tell you how many supplements I bought, like hundreds of dollars, where I was like, oh my God, please, like whatever, just get rid of these hot flashes for the love, right? So it's important that we include a team of people around these decisions, that they aren't just made because, well, my sister said that if she drinks this tea, like your sister isn't you, right? She didn't like, you are this specific set of cellular beauty made of stardust that your system dictates what you need. And so it's not going to be the same as anybody else, not even your mom, not your grandma. Like, it will be unique to you and only you. So yes, I do think it's absolutely possible to blend them. And also, I feel like Ayurveda is the part where we're talking about implementing better routines and habits. Like, yes, the medication side and the understanding of Western medicine is so important, but also if you just go to HRT and you're like, I just wanted to lose my belly. It's like, well, your HRT is not going to help you lose your belly. HRT plus lifestyle adjustments, diet routine, therapy, whatever, right? These are the things that make it symptoms minimize. It's not just one thing. And I think that that's the important part too, is like setting an expectation that HRT is a tool of support, not the only way that things get fixed, right? I will say in Ayurveda, they mostly say, especially I'm referencing Dr. Nancy Longsdorf, who is one of my mentors and is an incredible Ayurvedic doctor as well as an allopathic doctor. And she says in her book that when the factory closes, we send the workers home and we don't bring them back. So that's her view on hormone replacement therapy, meaning that the body has gotten rid of those hormones for a reason. And for us bringing them back for an extended period of time could cause potential damage. Now, it has been shown recently multiple times that estrogen hormone replacement, as well as many forms of progesterone and testosterone, do not cause the cancer that they once thought they did, right? You're shaking your head, Lisa, so I think you
Yeah,
heard
no,
this,
I
right?
mean, because that was the thing. They didn't even want
Yeah, it
you to
was
eat
some
like
dude.
soybeans, for God's sakes.
Yeah, it was some guy who showed up to a convention, dropped this study that said was done that was never actually done, scared the bejesus out of an entire generation, which is probably our mother's generation. Like I'm turning 49, you guys, so we're in that sort of that time frame. And it was about our mothers where they were like, oh no, then I don't want breast cancer because that's a scare, and I don't want heart disease because that's in my family. And so hundreds of women, millions of women and doctors, and still it happens where they're like, no. I was just watching this Instagram video where they were talking about how the warning labels are still written that they do cause cancer on many of these medications. So it's really important for women to do, in some cases it sucks, but we kind of have to do our own research. We have to be our own general contractors in some ways and vet doctors. Are you worthy to work with me? Forget if I know it's hard with this insurance and making sure that they're in network, but man, it's like an interview. Like, I should be interviewing you as much as you're interviewing me. Like, do you have the capacity to support me? Then if not, then move on. Find another doctor that will, or surround yourself with a team of practitioners that can actually give you some answers.
And I think, unfortunately, women have historically faced a lack of guidance and support due to that historical gap in how women's health is approached, especially during menopause. So how would you suggest that people talk to their health practitioners about Ayurveda, or even just having a more natural approach to begin with to help with menopause?
So Ayurveda really addresses the whole person, right? We're not just talking about how we're feeling physically, but emotionally and spiritually in a balanced way. So when those energies shift, when hormones are shifting in perimenopause, then Ayurveda is going to swoop in with diets and herbs and lifestyle adjustments to also give this person a roadmap or a plan. What mindfulness techniques can I use? Meditation, yoga, breath work to navigate these changes. It's really about digesting stress away from the organs because we hold stress there a lot. And I would say if someone's interested in Ayurveda, to start talking to your doctor about the specific symptoms you're having. I often will recommend to my clients that they keep a menopause journal that specifically notates when I'm having this symptom, how long it lasted for, and then give them a scale 1 to 5. Like I had hot flashes and night sweats. There was one I can remember in my early 40s. I experienced probably 5 nights out of 7 out of a week. Like I was sweating through 2 sets of sheets, 5 nights out of 7. And when I looked back at what I wrote, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, are you serious? Like, this is not okay. There's obviously something awry. It was like, oh my God, when I looked at it like that, it wasn't just me sitting on the edge of the table, swinging my feet and being like, I don't know what happened in the last year. Like, I literally had data to be like, look, I'm feeling like this. I'm, XYZ. It lasted for this amount of time. And these are the facts of my reality. And if you have a doctor that hears you say that, and they're like, I'm sorry, your labs are normal, everything looks normal, you will go out of your freaking mind, first of all. And then, because you're not being heard, right? So that's when you get the information and you listen to what they say and you find another alternative. You search for another doctor. You look for support because you deserve it and it's possible and it's available, but maybe just not from that practitioner, which can be hard. Because in my case, it was my doctor that I'd had for 15 years. And I was looking across from her like, literally, you have no answers for me. She's like, I really don't. Like, your labs look great. I don't really, there's no medication that I'm just going to give you, unless your symptoms are really bad, then we're just not going to go down that road. And I was like, oh.
I mean, I'm sorry, sweating through 2 sets of sheets, she doesn't consider that's really
What
bad.
BS.
It makes me so angry. I mean, first of all, that women historically have had to put up with this shit. Like we've literally been suffering. Half of the population has been suffering for a third of their lives and nobody has cared about it until now. So thank goodness we're having these conversations now because
Thank God.
and yeah, it's exhausting. Like I've just gone through this trying to find a doctor that I felt really knew what was happening with me. And it just makes me pissed.
Hey there, I'm Lisa Coricella McDowell, your midlife Pacific Northwest princess, here to guide you in the art of next leveling your life. I'm passionate about women's health and wellness in midlife, especially for moms parenting kids with unique needs like I do. I truly believe we can learn, grow, advocate, and care for the planet while taking care of ourselves and our families. And I'd love to help you do the same. Plus, I'm beyond excited to announce the launch of my new membership, the Empowered Parent Collective, this March. It's a space for parents to confidently advocate for their kids, build inclusive communities, educate themselves, and find balance and support along the way. To find out more about the Empowered Parent Collective, my classes, wellness offerings, parenting tips, advocacy resources, and exclusive Drinks with the Girls goodies, head to nextlevellifewithlisa.com. Let's survive and thrive in the messy middle together. Cheers.
It's frustrating. Yeah,
Yep.
I will say though, there are a lot of channels that I'm following right now that I'm inspired by. Tamsin Fidel, she's
Yes.
right. She's amazing. She just threw this massive, menopause party, and her channel is super inspiring. And there's a lot of data that comes out of her channel that is right on target. And she pulls the studies. Also, Dr. Mary Claire, she's a big one and doing amazing things, right? So there are these conversations that are starting to be had. And I do know that there are now more resources than ever before that we have at our fingertips. But I do think it's important that we still recognize that it is a personalized approach here. That at the end of the day, if someone's saying that every woman needs to take this supplement or every woman needs this thing, I call bullshit.
Red flag.
Because then you're selling something. Then
Yeah,
obviously I'm here because I'm a coach and I'm selling my service, right? But if someone says to you, every woman needs fiber, so take my product. Here's PayPal, right? No. because not every woman needs more fiber. No, not every woman needs more magnesium. Go get the test done. Go have a doctor say, hey, I'm going to put you on hormone replacement therapy, but it's going to be for this amount of months. And it's going to be until we see these levels affect change. I want to see this happen. I want these drugs to have this impact. And if they don't, in 6 months, we're going to shift. We're going to try something else. Because what often happens is they'll go HRT for life. Boom, boom, your patches forever. And you're like, no. Actually, I don't need it forever. I might not. It just really depends on your scenario. And so I get really miffed when I see, again, women just spending a bunch of money on supplements because someone who had more authority told them to buy it. But at the end of the day, it should be based on your specific labs, your specific symptoms, your specific body type, your specific climate, your age, all this stuff, your race. Like, women of color are going to go through these symptoms even faster than white women because their social and economic stressors are higher than ours. And nobody talks about that. So when women are going into, and I hate that, women of color, but any woman that essentially is not Caucasian, right, is going to experience it quicker than their white counterparts. And that's an important part of the conversation, and not often talked about. But I will say that there are many doctors now that are open to holistic approaches as well. They're open to conversations. So good doctors do exist. And doctors that are coming up now out of universities are receiving a bit more menopause education. They're not doing studies on women still because we're too unpredictable. And how can we study a body when it's different all the time? Like, oh my God. Please.
I think the important piece that I want our listeners to walk away with, and I know it's difficult because it's, like you said earlier, we have to really, take all of this in our own hands and go somewhere with it. Like, we have to find what is the best solution for us. And it takes work. Of course, we'd rather just pop a pill and be like, oh, good, everything's fine. But unfortunately, it's just not that easy. And I think, like keeping the journal, I think that's amazing. And also then when you show up into your doctor's office with that, your doctor has to take you seriously. It's like, yes. I feel like that's powerful.
Yes. One of the things that I suggest for my clients is that no matter what, they ask for an EKG, because heart disease is the number one killer of women, right? So if there's something feeling off at all, the first thing you say is, you know what, I'd like you to run an EKG. And it's usually covered by insurance. They may need to reimburse you, but it's usually covered. And they may uncover something that they didn't think about early. Or at the very least, you could then have a marker so that later on you could go back and be like, oh man, now look at my heart rate back then, and now look at it. It's changed. But you can't have that marker if you never get the test done. So those are things I often say, just have them go in and do a hormone panel. Find out what and some people will say, well, your hormones change on a given day. Then go in one day at 9 a.m. and then the next day you go in at 5 p.m. Have them take both tests and then figure out the balance of each, right? Like, stand up for yourself when it comes to getting tests done. No, I want you to actually test my calcium, test my vitamin D. I know it costs more, but stand up for the things that you want to know about yourself. Because again, doctors aren't meant there. If they can't prescribe anything and they can't surge or something, then they'll say you look normal.
Yeah.
But that's not a normal. That's just, you don't need pills and you don't need to be cut, right? It's like, well, okay, what? Like, but I still am sweating through sheets. So what the fuck, right? Like,
just saying.
What do I do? Right? I just buy multiple sets of sheets and what? No. I did end up getting one of those waterproof comforter waterproof mattress covers because I was like, yo, this is gross. Like, this is a lot. Like,
help
what
a
is
sister
happening?
out.
We love helping women look at midlife and menopause as an opportunity instead of a crisis. So Karen, I know there are some women out there saying, hell yeah, this is exactly what I need. How can I work with Karen? Tell us, how can people work with you, and what does a typical coaching session look like with you?
Yes. I'd say the simplest way to work with me is to get on my subscriber list. So on my website, which is www.alpenglow-ayurveda.com, you can download your free menopause survival guide right there. Got some good remedy suggestions, lots of Ayurvedic wisdom for anyone navigating this transition. I also offer one-on-one wellness coaching, both online and in person. And I hold transformative retreats here in Belize and beyond for women in midlife. You can get on my retreat waitlist as well on my website, where I'll send out like VIP access and early bird retreat discounts to my subscriber list. So I think that's probably the simplest and easiest way. I also am offering a Glow Getters Menopause Survival Kit, which I'll talk about more in a second. I will say that during Ayurvedic assessment sessions, this is how it usually goes. You'll tell me about your main concerns. We'll discuss your medical history. And if we're in person for your appointment, maybe you're here in Belize or you're here for a retreat, I'll read your pulse to understand what's happening at the cellular level, like I was talking before, through the doshas. Using Ayurvedic techniques, I can identify which elements might be out of balance, then make a decision to what remedies are going to work for you. And then together we create a plan to reduce your symptoms. I give you like custom grocery lists for foods that you should favor, give you spices or herbal formulas, and we make adjustments as we go, as your needs evolve. So some people like to see me every week. Some people see me every month, or some people will see me once a year for like a tune-up. And I offer different packages for coaching depending on your goals.
Do you want to tell us about the Glow Getters Menopause Survival Kit?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I do. It was essentially a free 4-week experience that we did in January of this year. And I designed it so that we could educate women around what happens in menopause. So the first week we talked about what happened in the body. Second week was what happens in the mind. We talked about what happens in the heart, as well as to the sex drive. And so then I essentially had such amazing response. I had 50 people attending, and it felt so important that I decided that I was going to package it and sell it as a survival kit. So in this Glow Getters Menopause Survival Kit, you'll get the survival guide, you get the 4 60-minute presentations, you also get all the Q&A recordings, that is where all the juicy questions were answered. And then you also get all these freebies that I usually reserve for my one-on-one clients. And so I've packaged it and put it out there as a product right now. I'm putting it on sale. It's $197, usually valued at $397. So I have it on sale on my website, and you get all the material immediately. So you can choose to go through it at your pace. If you're busy and you don't have a lot of time to watch things, you can take it in as you need it. And I made it hopefully at an accessible price so that more women can have access to the information.
All these little golden nuggets that you've given us, we will link everything in the show notes. So be sure everyone to check those out. We take great pride in our show notes. We try to make them a really valuable resource. So, Karen, before we wrap up, any last words for the women out there struggling with menopause?
Yes. If you're struggling, know that you are not alone in this. Menopause can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to define your health or your happiness. There is so much power in understanding your body's natural rhythms and using practices like these to help support your transition. It's okay to ask for help, to slow down, and to take care of yourself through this. This phase can actually be a time of profound growth and renewal. You deserve to feel empowered and balanced and vibrant. And I'm telling you that it does get better. You can do it.
You can do it.
You can do it.
We always try to leave our listeners feeling empowered after each episode, and I think you definitely did that, Karen. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing all this wisdom.
Thank you so much. This has been my absolute pleasure. Thank you again for having me.
So For all of you listening, share this episode with your besties, your sisters, your coworkers, any woman who needs to hear this and feel the love. And if you're loving Drinks with the Girls in general, leave us a review because it helps us keep these conversations going by elevating the podcast so more women like you can see us and find us.
Yes, we are creating a space here at Drinks with the Girls for real, raw conversations that midlife women need. So if you found this episode helpful, let us know, share with another woman who might find it helpful too, and go ahead and check out Karen's work. Till next time, cheers.
Cheers.